And so it's important. I mentioned to you that I don't suppose there's many folks that play this game that know what all 91 discards are and the order they appear. But at least take the time to learn the top 5. I mean, that's not many. Yeah, and if you can learn the top 5, you might want to stretch it to 10.
Now you're pushing it.
Make a big difference. Make a big difference in the crib scores both for you and your opponent, if you know them. The reason they're high scoring discards is because they're building blocks. If you think back to when we were talking about discarding to your own crib, they were 5-5, deuce tray, 5 jack, 4-5, 5-6, 5 king, 5-10, 5 queen, 4-5. All of them before we ever got to a 7-8. They're building blocks. Why does the 4-5 work so good?
2, 3, 5, 6.
How many people do you hear say, my favorite discard to the crib is a 6 king, 6 queen, 6 10, 6 jack? Hey, you don't need any help on the cut to have a good crib with a 4-5 discard. Okay? Don't lose sight of it. But if you have these in mind, you'll be surprised how often you can do these things. And then if you're thinking in terms of what are the discards that are going to keep the crib score low on your opponent's side of the board, then at least remember the 10 king and the 9 king. It probably doesn't make too much difference if you think of the next two as 6 king and 9 queen, or 9 queen and 6 king. They're almost identical. 8 king, 8 queen. But we're going to go through the 9 king and the 9 queen, and the 6 king and the 6 queen, and the 6 10, and the 8 king and the 8 queen. You haven't heard me mention the 7 yet, have you? That's the reason. It's not in the same league, because that 7 is that key connecting card among the middle cards. So we're a little off course here. Next week, we're going to go to something called critical position zones. This is something I developed quite a few years ago, and I call them CPZs, just to shorten it. And I think you'll find, and I'm going to share some actual game information with you, where we take and look at 40 games, a spreadsheet with 40 games on it, what actually happens for me, and why I decided that I wanted to look at playing position zones rather than position holes. And the zone concept encourages you to get deeper into the cribbage board earlier in the game, rather than being satisfied that you have made hole 16, 17, whatever it is. These holes are important from that standpoint because they represent the start of a zone. What DeLynn Culvert says about the theory of 26, the position holes he talks about, actually is the first hole in the first street zone, first hole in the second street zone, and so on around the board. Anyway, I think it will simplify position a lot for you. And if I'm not able to do that, then I want you to keep asking questions next week until it does, because it's clear in my mind, and I want you to leave here with it clear in your mind. Any questions?
DeLynn personally told me one time that on 4th Street, 26 is not the average on 24th Street. It was more in the area of 23 or 24 because of defenses.
So make it up on first if you can. Yeah, okay. Don't wait for DeLynn to tell you on 4th Street that you're at a big disadvantage.
Yeah.
But it's true that whether you're trying to peg or whether you're trying to get a crib score, it's all tougher to do on 4th Street. So, anything else? Let's play some cribbage.